Hello everyone, my name is Kraylin and welcome to my den. Today we set out on a misadventure to find out if katanas are OP in Dark Souls. If anyone has ever played a Souls game, this is a very redundant question. However, that is only after you get the stats for it. And since we don't start with one, we have to dodge a boulder, meet up with Oscar, as well as give a knuckle sandwich to the jiggly demon. Now, to get this party started. Starting off by grabbing a few important items in Firelink, we then take the elevator down to Nulando for another soul item, opening the door to the Valley of the Drakes before splashing down to the lower Blight Town, where we grab some rather large soul items this early in the game. Sneaking into the garden and around the Black Knight for the Grasscrest shield. After beating a poor lizard to death, I get the first of many lucky drops. Then, I grab the basement key and dodge around the porcine guard. After dodging a few rats, I then get trapped and die a couple of times. I get a bit of a break from the rat pack by using my head and getting around so I can get to some grinding, and I do mean a lot. Why, you may wonder? Well, to get a katana easily, we have to buy a key from Andre, talk to Alvina, to join the Forest Hunters, and then to Shiva. Afterwards, we meet Shiva back down in Blighttown to buy a few katanas. Jumping back to the burg, we grab some special dust, then trot up to deal with the Taurus demon, by first cutting down his archers, grabbing his attention, lubing up, and then plunging on his face. Not as much damage as I wanted, but after a few more swings, I cut him down to manageable pieces. Hello, Solaire.
Hello.
Time for a porcine prostate exam. Then a pentakill. Freeing while track, I then kick him off a ledge for the Fap ring. Heading off to deal with Capra and his dogs, I get rocked really quickly. Trying again and getting my dodge timing down, I get an amazing kit swing and take both dogs out. I attempt to do a plunging attack and barely nick the demon. After zooming back up the stairs, I lube my sword again, and take a second plunge doing considerably more damage. After a few more swings, the demon goes down. Down to the depths for the large ember. Then I grab the wolf ring and somebody else's armor. Afterwards, I take the time to fight the butterfly, which I have to do twice. I don't know what was wrong with me during this fight, but you know, stuff happens. Jumping back down to the depths, sorry for the whiplash, I free Laurentius, take Kirk out rather quickly, and meet Donald for some special dust. Lastly, in the depths, I prepared myself to fight and annihilate the gaping dragon, mostly because it reminds me of a movie from 2007, and because I want the souls. Heading into the top of Blighttown, I take one of the more difficult jumps in the game to pick up the Aito. Also, just in case, if you didn't know, you can attack this bug from the side with a long enough weapon. The more you know, I suppose. I splash down to the bottom to deal with the Man-Eater. Then we deal with man's favorite distraction, surprising myself with how being hyper-aggressive is still what gets me the victory. I then ring the first loud bell of the day, steal some clothes from Ceaseless, and then put him out of his misery. Going up to get down to the bottom of the garden, I take out the Black Knight and once again get my second favorite weapon. I then deal with Havel, a little sloppy at first, but eventually I get the timing right. Once again, I remove the Hydra from the equation much quicker than ever before. I then free Dusk. After wandering through the forest, I make my way to the Hornet Ring and Sif. I still don't like doing this fight, but it is necessary. Interesting. I meet up with Ingward and take his key, then open the seal. I grab the very large ember, then have a very bad idea. I tried to take on the Four Kings. I gave it only a couple of tries before leaving. Pretending to be an egg, I get transported to the asylum again. I get kicked in the face by Oscar, which doesn't improve my mood at all. I grabbed the doll first before getting blown apart by the Siren 2.0 a few times. But as I am a madman, I keep trying until victory is mine. Getting back to the undead parish, I made my way up to the gargoyles, and surprising probably no one, it was an absolute cakewalk. I ring the second bell and wonder if I have tinnitus now. Walking into Sins, I take out the door guards and the gatemen. I meet the onion, find a ring that would be great for a different run, free a wizard, and then take out the bomb giant, and skewer the fresh prince. I walk in to fight the iron golem, and fear of my weapon will not be strong enough to last through the fight, nor do enough damage. But my fear is for nothing, since I clearly underestimate the power that a little bit of grinding and prep can do. Up to Orlando, I demolish the third gargoyle, do a bit of rafter racing, and open up the map before dealing with the fourth gargoyle. I then cheese the cheese and meet up with Solaire.
There you are.
Did you know that they can open doors? Also, why? I say hello to the best giant and forge the Chaos Blade, which looks really nice. Love the red. Off to fight O and S. Now usually I describe them as a run ender or a severe blockade to progression, but this time they stood no chance. I decide to use my noodle a little bit and go after Smo first, and with his slow movement and really low bleed resistance, I take him down in surprisingly few encounters. After Smo falls like a ton of bricks, Super Orn comes out and pretty much gets the same treatment. I then meet the princess and get the power to teleport. I move on to the painting of Canada and touch it. It's like I never learn. While in the painting, I grab my shirt, crank a switch, slay Jeremiah, and say hi to a waifu. I make an attempt for her tail, which I assume she is unpleased about. But with a few blind sweeps and amazing luck, I manage to get her tail. I make the jump from the highest point to the lowest point, probably, and signal for the endgame. And up first is the Dukes. I grab the pendant, wreck the Crystal General, get a forced death, wake up in prison, grab both keys to my escape, and breathe some fresh air. I crank a lever to get to Seath. Speaking of the Scaleless Lizard, I take my time and wait for him to break the crystal and then hack away at him. As a first for me, I managed to do this fight without getting hit by him. Down to the catacombs for Tom 1 and a lever, then top 2, 3, 4, pausing long enough to say hi to Patches, lastly Tom 5 and the Darkmoon Seance Ring. Now for Pinwheel. Yeah, that was pretty much how I expected that to go. I meet Patches somewhere darker than his mind and start making my normal run to Nito. Why do you torment me, Darksouls? Now for the Bone Granddaddy himself. Dealing more damage than one would think against a being made of bone and miasma, Nito takes a surprisingly short amount of time to beat. Nope, cat and mouse time with Gwendolyn. Luckily, it doesn't take as long as the Thrusting Swords video did, but his magic missiles and bolts are no joke when they make contact. And since it's the last thing to do in Orlando, we take care of the Darkling as usual. God, I need to stop touching things. To the DLC! Sanctuary Guardian first, and to my surprise, I eat him for lunch. Like, seriously, I expected to die at least once against him. The only thing that sucked about this fight was taking both lightning blasts at the start. Hi, Calamite. Artorias, my man. I know your opening is usually a foreshadowing, but this time, I'm riding high and feeling myself. Interestingly enough, the washing pole here can do enough blaze damage to knock him out of his power-up move. And with that, I defeat Artorias on the first try. I grab the silver pendant and crest key for later, then get absolutely trashed by a gang. Time to strike the heart of the abyss. In my desire to do things epically, I get so close to defeating Manus on the first try. But as always, his wild monkey flailing does me in. On the second round, I played a little more cautiously, but still aggressively enough to lay on the pain. I'm glad it only took 2 rounds. Manus is usually a bit of a hurdle. On to Calamite. I cut out the meaning of Goff and his cutscene just to make the video a bit shorter. Anyways, the wily dragon barely stays still, so it turns into the twisting swords all over again. As an added bonus, I decided to take out the dual Sanctuary Guardians fight, and that goes about as well as the first one. They have less health, but are a bit more wily than I like. Haha, take that, worm! Time for the Fire Sage, which, let's face it, it's a silent demon but on fire, so slash away, wait for the bleed, and stay away from the explosions. Then to the Centipede, we take off a limb for the lava lock ring, then hack away at his ankles until he stops moving. I completely wreck the witch. Sorry, man. Sliding down to deal with the Blade of Chaos, I book off to the left and demolish the first nodule, reloading so I can get to the right one, but I get thwapped off the ledge before I get to the second nodule. Then I get clipped, barely, and get knocked up into the void. Getting back into the fray, I manage to get my break and squash the bug. Going back to the abyss, I take out the 4 gangs once again, and this time, it goes off without a hitch. Opening up the kiln, I make my way to Gwyn and make a number of attempts to parry him, to no avail. Twice even. After clearing my head for a moment, I get my timing down and take out the old king. I should have had the Hornet Ring on to make it a bit quicker, but I was ready to get the run over with. So, in conclusion, yes, Katanas are OP in my opinion. The only difficulty with them is getting one early enough to start the game. So yes, you can climb up to the Aito, but it does sadly trigger Log Trek to leave his cell and kill the Firekeeper. You can also kill the male undead merchant for his, but then you lose out on a merchant. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this misadventure, please consider liking the video and possibly subbing as it helps me greatly. And with that, I'll see you all in the next one.